You never stop defining and clarifying your ideal client profile, nor validate it and then spending time where you can find your ideal client. The reason is the world doesn't stand still. People change and their needs change. And you change as well. This video discusses 4 actionable ideal client profile tips that work if you're starting your business or if you've been in business for years. Business for years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter. As an FYI, the first actionable tip is something I perform every year before I start working on my business plan. And it is also something that I do after working with a client. I'll explain the 4 actionable tips with the help of Sarah, an operational business process consultant. When Sarah started her business as an operational business process consultant, she defined her ideal client profile. She reached out to people she knew and she asked for referrals. The referrals she received kept her in business for almost 2 years. But one day she looked up and she felt like she was looking into the abyss. She didn't see any new clients or any new work on the horizon. In an effort to get clients, she did something that many consultants do, and maybe you have done it as well. She engaged with a client that kind of met her ideal client profile. They had operational problems that needed fixing. And Sarah felt she could help them, but the client's values and approaches were misaligned with Sarah's. To make matters worse, her recommendations were not well received, which resulted in a failed engagement. Emotionally, Sarah was frustrated and she felt broken. She was sure her reputation was damaged for life, but in all honesty, it wasn't. Sarah thought her problem was she couldn't sell. And when she approached me and started talking, that's what she kept saying. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to sell. But the more we spoke, it became clear that her problem wasn't best selling. Her problem was she wasn't clear as to who her ideal client was. She couldn't articulate clearly and crisply who was the right type of person for her to work with. If you aren't clear as to who might be interested in what you do and how you can help people, the harder it is to build and to create the right relationships with people who might become clients, who are interested in how you might be able to help them by solving their problems. What this meant was Sarah needed to rethink her ideal client profile. Now, keep in mind, she had been in business for about 2 years, so she thought she had an ideal client profile. She just didn't. She had parts of it, but it needed to be refined. As she reassessed and redefined her ideal client profile, she implemented a process so that she continually, as she was working on building her business and growing her business, she continually reassessed her ideal client profile. Hi, I'm Laura Burford, and I focus on helping consultants establish and grow their own consulting businesses that provide consistent revenue and enable you to live life on your own terms. Why? I know what it's like to make mistakes when you start your own business. And as you grow your business, I've been there. And I make mistakes even now. I do what I do because I don't want to see anybody fail. And if this video helps you and provides you one tip to help you with your business, that is great. The 4 actionable tips that I will discuss are for people who are starting out. They will help you define your ideal client profile, but the tips will also help you continually refine your ideal client profile, no matter how long you've been in business. These are tips that I've implemented, and I believe at least one will help you grow your business, enabling you to work with your ideal client, the person you want to work with and who wants to work with you. If you would like additional insights such as this, Consider subscribing to this channel, and if you click on the bell, you'll be notified when the next video is available. If you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Before I continue, I periodically assess my knowledge and skills. And if you're looking to assess yourself, to assess your knowledge and skills, download the consultant's assessment document and schedule time with me to discuss your findings. Links to both the consultant assessment document as well as to my calendar are down below in the description area, as well as the first comment. To ensure we're on the same page, your ideal client is a person who has a need. They have a problem of some sort that you not only have an interest in solving, but you have the necessary experience and expertise to solve it. Your ideal client is the person you want to work with, you want to help, and who wants to work with you. It is a mutual relationship. So how do you continually define and refine your ideal client profile and find your ideal client? Because if you can't find your ideal client, you don't have an ideal client. The first way, and this is tip 1, is to perform market research. I recommend performing market research as you're defining your focus, the one thing for which you want to be known. If you're not sure as to what I mean by focus, that one thing for which you want to be known, check out the latest video on focus. I've added a link to the latest video in the description area below. When you're performing research, you look at demographic information, market trends, industry reports, and competitor analysis. You perform searches on Amazon to see what people are reading. You check out podcasts to see what people are listening to, and YouTube videos to see what they're watching. To get a few ideas, Sarah might have asked GP Chat a few questions, such as, who do or where do owners and CEOs of smaller technology companies find help to optimize their business operations? And how do they go about implementing solid project management practices? She could have refined that question, and Sarah also could have done research online by just performing internet searches. She could have also gone to a local library and asked the business librarian for some help. Here's the thing, you never stop performing market research. Every week, I spend time performing market research, and it starts by doing something extremely simple, and that includes a list of periodicals I peruse and influencers I follow. Sarah, who is an operational process consultant with a strong project management background, targets owners of smaller technology companies. She helps them optimize their operations and implement solid project management practices. For Sarah, many of the people that she's targeting are not interested in hiring somebody that is certified in project management, nor do they have people on staff that are certified as project management. Tip 2, evaluate your clients. If you're new to consulting, you might think this tip doesn't apply to you, but it does. You simply need to adjust the word client. Change the word client to sponsor or the person in charge of a project you've worked on. Think of that person as your client. To evaluate your clients, create 2 lists. One is a list of what you liked about the client. The other is a list of what you disliked about the client. Think about the person's characteristics or demographics, the tangibles, such as industry, or who do they serve, as well as behaviors and mannerisms, the intangibles. They believe in giving back. They've worked with consultants before and are open to consultants. Prioritize the items on the like list and use that prioritized list as a starting point to define and refine your ideal client profile. Sarah performed this exercise by evaluating her consulting clients, but also included a few of her corporate projects that she did and worked on prior to starting her own consulting business. I include a version of this exercise in my lessons learned review, the one I perform at the end of an engagement. And I perform this exercise before working on my yearly business plan. On more than one occasion, I've refined my ideal client profile. And at times, after performing this review, I found somebody, an ideal client, or somebody I thought was my ideal client, no longer fit the profile. Tip 3, be specific. This is where you review your prioritized list and determine if you've missed anything. Have you overlooked any characteristics or behaviors that should be added to the list? Are there any characteristics and behaviors that are too broad and you need to refine them, making them more specific? I have seen business consultants who want to work with small business owners do just that. The characteristic they put on their list is, we want to work with small business owners. We can work with any small business owner. Too broad. You want to be more specific. What type of small business owners? Remember I said that when Sarah started to look into the abyss, she took on a client that kind of met her ideal client profile? When Sarah left the corporate world, she let fear drive her ideal client decisions. In the corporate world, she was accustomed to the rigor of hierarchical organization structure with formal approaches. But that's not where she worked within the organization. She was responsible for new initiatives, new departments that required flexibility, innovation. And when she was starting the new initiatives, these new departments, the organizational structure she was working with, and where she really works best, the structures were flat. There weren't layers of people that needed to be involved in decision-making. And that's what she enjoyed. She enjoyed the flexibility. She enjoyed working with few people to get decisions made and getting the initiatives up and running. That is where she excelled, and she knew how to get things done that way. The failed engagement had that formal structure, and that failed engagement had a very formal project management process, something that Sarah wasn't accustomed to working with. Sarah modified her ideal client profile so that the owner or the CEO of the company she was working with was flexible, not rigid. They were inventive and not set on formal processes. And they were open to recommendations with the goal of getting something done and moving the company forward. Tip 4, never stop talking and never stop listening to people. Develop a process to continually validate your ideal client profile. A process that works for you. To validate, though, you need to talk to people that fit your ideal client profile. And when you speak with them, you ask them for help. You ask them questions and you listen. This isn't trying to sell anything to them, but it's what I refer to as listening to the noise. And one of the easiest ways to listen to the noise and speak with people who fit your ideal client profile is with the help of your relationship strategy. Your relationship strategy, are you spending time where you can find your ideal client? Are you networking there? Are you asking for referrals? Are you doing targeted outreach to people who fit your ideal client profile? You want to listen to what people have to say, not sell. Just gather information as much as you can. As Sarah created her relationship building strategy, she implemented processes to periodically review her conversational notes. What she was doing is after she was out at a networking event, she would spend some time jotting down notes as to what she heard. And as she looked at her notes or after a networking event, if she wasn't clear as to what she heard, she would reach out and ask for help. Could you help me understand what you meant by? To recap, 4 actionable tips that you can implement whether you're new to consulting or you've been consulting for a year were discussed. The 4 actionable tips will help you define and clarify your ideal client. Tip 1, you want to perform market research. You want to find out who might be interested in what you have to offer or your focus, that one thing for which you want to be known. Tip 2, you want to evaluate your current clients. If you're new to consulting, think of your client as the sponsor of a project that you were working on, or a few of the projects you've worked on. What did you like? What did you dislike? Tip 3, you want to be specific. If you're too broad, you won't be able to find your ideal client. I think that's the best part, because everybody will look like your ideal client, but nobody will. So you want to be specific. Tip 4, never stop talking and never stop listening to people who fit your ideal client profile. You want to listen to the noise. I referred to Sarah several times in this video. In full disclosure, she is a combination of 2 real-life consultants, both of whom have been working as consultants for several years, and both started their businesses with the help of referrals. In this story, Sarah is an operational process consultant with a solid project management background. She targets owners of smaller technology companies, helping them optimize their operations and implement solid management practices. You might be asking the question, how did the people who referred initial clients to Sarah know who was her ideal client if her ideal client profile wasn't real solid? They knew Sarah and her work, and they referred clients based on what Sarah had done in the past. In some ways, it was kind of by luck, but the odds are pretty good that a boss or someone with whom you've worked closely and have a solid relationship with knows enough about you to be able to introduce you to somebody who is a good fit. In closing, I provided several links in the description area. One for the consultant's assessment document, another to a link that discusses your focus, and another to my scheduling calendar. Don't hesitate to schedule a free consulting session with me to discuss your consulting assessment findings. If you like this video and would like more videos like this, subscribe to this channel and click on the bell so you'll be notified when the next video is released. And give it a thumbs up. I appreciate a thumbs up because it helps me know if you like the video or not, and if I'm hitting a concept that's helpful to you. And now, until the next consulting video, take care.